We are live. What's up, guys? It's your boy James, aka 68J, coming to you on this Saturday. And I'm joined by two of my family members, Brooke, Odyssey, my sister, and my brother, Nesforce. How are you guys doing today?
Doing good.
Feeling great. Back is recovering from shoveling.
Awesome. How's the weather in your neck of the woods out there? Where you guys live at?
I'll let you go first.
It's I don't know. We got about 3 feet of snow and it's freezing, so it's like getting harder by the day. And I just want to throw out a virtual DAPS to the C4L fam, like I always do.
Absolutely. I'm trying to see. I thought I had it where I had the comments where the comments could actually be shown. There you go. Now we can see
Oh,
it in
nice.
on the stream there. So yeah, guys, I wanted to put this together. Obviously, Nesforce, you and I talked about this a couple for some time now, a few weeks ago, and we finally made it happen. I reached out to a lot of different people, and I was just so excited to get you and Brooke on. I really respect you guys' mindset and knowledge in the crypto space. So we've got some topics here, guys, that we're going to be talking about today, from health as well, fasting, market events, building relationships in crypto, which I think is very important. But there's some hot things going on right now, and just some obviously chaos in the markets. The markets are way down, and I want to start off with Brooke because I know you're very locked into what's going on in the banking system. They've done everything they could to try to pause some of the things that we need to move forward with the Clarity Act and things like that. So just, take it away. We're going to have an open forum here. Really no structure in the sense of, any particular thing in order, but let's start with that. Just your feelings on the crypto market, the chaos. I know people are frantic right now. I'm looking all over X. People are freaking out. I mean, some long time XRP people are just literally like cursing, just yelling from the mountaintop, what's going on? Oh my God, I should have sold. What am I, it's just chaos right now, sis. So what do you have? What is your take on that?
So before I give my take, I should probably introduce a little bit of myself to the audience because it kind of matters.
That's right. That's right.
All of this that's happening right now, and the price drop, the markets, and actually the entire shift that we're undergoing, this isn't a surprise to me. This is actually right in step with the thesis that I've had over 5 years. So 5 years ago, whenever I came across blockchain and crypto technology, my background is in banking. In 2008, I was in university. And that is when the financial crisis back then was going down. And so I was in my economics classes. And I had already been working at banks through high school, and I was working at a bank in college.
Okay.
And so, of course, this is a banking issue. And so I'm sitting here going what's going on? And I remember, I just remember that time at working at a bank. And so then I'm I really wanted to understand what happened in that crisis. And so for the past over 15 years, 20, I don't know how long college was ago. I'm that old.
Right.
I have been digging into the banking system, the global banking system, the global financial system. And in that study, I also studied the rise and fall of empires, mostly inspired by a lot of what Ray Dalio has said. And so I had all of that knowledge. And so then, of course, the 2020 happened. We're all stuck at home. We all have some time. And I have this philosophy in my life that I will not write anything off. I'll always just put a question mark there.
Right.
And so I'm I had a friend who was mining Ethereum, and he also works at a bank. And I'm this guy isn't dumb. I should, see what this is if I could figure it out. So of course I'm finding pump and dumps. But then I came across Ripple XRP. And I saw my girl Rosie Rios, and I just knew who she was through, knowing the sector. And I was why is she on this project? And then listening to it and then applying that to the monetary system and the evolution that is and what it does. I said, I don't think we will ever just willy-nilly accept this. I could see, especially the use case of this, coming off of a back end of a financial crisis. And I was, so when you saw 2020 and whenever we started printing the money and understanding that, I'm like, okay, we're about to have a problem, which I think kicked off Friday.
Right.
So in this, I don't like to give a timeline. I don't ever, like, if you go by a crystal ball, you will eat glass. But, and so I never put a timing on these things. So so this is a lead up. It's like the Jenga game, right? It's like these things start happening and you never know like which one. So you see something happening and they're like, is this the one that's going to take it there?
Yeah.
And there's been a lot of those. So like I thought this similar event was going to happen in 2023.
Okay.
But the Fed came in and backstopped the banks. But that was just putting a Band-Aid on a and so it has gotten progressively worse. The Jenga missing pieces are out. So if it's not this time, we are close. What I think is very interesting, okay? This is just, I'm going to put on my tinfoil crown, okay?
Right.
This is purely speculation and conspiracy theory.
Okay.
If this is planned, and it is happening going down.
A lot of people feel that way.
Okay. Very interesting that we have an Ondo summit hosted by the White House on Monday. Look at the people that's in that room.
Wow.
I have a feeling on Monday, if we don't have a banking holidays, we're going to be having some banking issues at the same time that these people are in the same room together, having some discussions about plumbing issues that are happening currently and how this infrastructure can mitigate or help what's on our doorstep. Tinfoil crown.
Wow.
Tinfoil crown.
Wow. And it's so crazy. And I my apologies for not introducing Brooke. Brooke is my crypto sister. She was one of the original members of Ladies Night that we did, and she went on to be on a lot of people's streams. Some things that World Be Free. Shouts out to VTHO. And the Nest Force is one of our valued community members who've done many streams with me, as has Brooke. You guys have been in quite a few of our shows. So if you guys want to check both of them out, go to our Crypto4Life YouTube channel. You'll see plenty of both of them. Talk a little bit about, and I'm going to move over to Nest Force, but either one of you guys can hit this. We just had a government shutdown, right? And here we are again last night, partial government shutdown. What's going on with that?
That's a really good question. I don't know. Maybe it's part of the plan. I really have, now that Brooke kind of went through her little she's got me thinking. I want to ask her like 20 questions to elaborate on that. Would you be okay with that, 6'8"?
Yeah, man. We're just having a discussion, and yeah, absolutely.
Okay, first thing I want to ask you about, Brooke, is obviously the precious metals market has been excellent. Now,
predicted that too. I'm just gonna say that. So that was one of the stops on the way.
Okay.
So I told people XRP.
Wow.
And then a lot of people who, they're like, this digital stuff is too risky. I'm scared. My husband won't let me.
Right.
What else can I do? Because I'm getting people ready for a financial crisis.
So I don't mean to cut you off, Brooke, but you were saying this when you had predicted this or foreseen this, because I know you're really heavily into like banking and finances. So when did you say this? Like when you kind of seeing this?
Here 5 years ago.
Wow. So
people
you kind of saw this.
Crazy.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I said, here one of the signs that I said on the top, if what is happening is going to happen, and we can overlay history on this, gold and silver will go parabolic. And a world of $5,000 gold. I listen to a lot of gold people like Andy Sheckman, Lynette Zhang, Adam Tabert, like all of these people talk about these things a lot. And we talk about a world of $5,000 gold is not a good world to be in. And they were listing that $5,000 number back then too. So this is something that a lot of, and I shouldn't say a lot, I just say a select group of people who are tuned in and understand what fiat money is, where it all goes historically in similar cycles each time, it is so obvious to me. so, but
So
yes, the move in gold and silver is completely in step with this overarching thesis.
so to complete my question, does that mean gold and silver are going up, or is the dollar just devalued and gold and silver essentially stayed where it was?
That so, well,
Interesting.
it is the fact that your dollar is getting less valuable. That is the mechanism there. That is happening. It's not that gold is getting more expensive. It's that your dollar is becoming less valuable.
Gotcha.
And we even have, okay, so I mentioned Ray Dalio in his study.
Right.
Just at the WEF, and this was very telling to me, when a man of his caliber, his social circles, being both big financial players and governmental, he has to be very careful with the things that he says, even while being factual.
Right.
And in that interview in the WEF, the interviewer asked her, like, what about the dollar? Is it failing? And he's like, it's not just the dollar, it's all fiat currency. So, and in these shifts too, one of the World War II was one of these things.
Right.
Wars and global resets happen off the back of financial crises. The nexus of all this throughout history, all the way back to Rome, is debt. Our money's based off of debt. In 1971, Nixon took us off the gold standard. Ever since then, it's been fake. And that is the story of the beginning of every empire's end is.
So let me ask you this, Brooke, is in kind of piggybacking off what Nethforce is saying. So this big run in gold, because I know a lot of people are saying it, but is this coming from countries? Is this coming from big institutions? Is this coming from, so they're running to gold like crazy. Okay, gotcha.
They have been. So I've been watching them run to gold. And what's interesting is the assets to gold that they hold on their books has now surpassed dollar across banks. So you can kind of just tell. So your question was, do I think you can go higher? So let's overlay some history here. In 1933, after the 1929 crisis, they're still in the aftermath of that. The government made gold illegal to own and bought it back and then revalued it. And if you want to go historically, a civilization goes from gold to fake money, or not in gold, it's just hard, like whatever means of hard-backed something's backing it other than nothing, to debt-based to back to gold. So I think we're also in that shift. So this is why, like, tokenization, this technology solves long-standing what's called frictions of money.
Okay.
And so the world and how it's set up is set up really because of the friction of money and how we move around it and commerce together throughout our country, states, the world. And so that is the nexus of everything.
Wow. Now here's one of the things I want to ask you guys. Obviously, I've been looking at a lot of people who do TA, market analysis, fundamental analysis, and a lot of people, hey, we could be hitting the bottom. But could this get much worse if we start seeing bank runs? Like right now, one of the things that I just saw when I had a message, people send me stuff all the time. It says, as of 8 o'clock this morning, I guess there's several banks, but one is Chicago-based Metropolitan Capital Bank has failed. And it seems like, is that kind of we're going again, these banks collapsing and just total chaos, meaning that, if that happens, we could be looking at much lower prices.
Well, or we actually get to see the real use case run.
Okay.
What are they building? What are we building here? Okay, the DTCC is going to be in that room on Monday.
Okay.
The DTCC did a project, and you can go and look it up. It's called the Great Collateral Experiment, of which they simulated a global margin call. And then they walked you through how they would solve and mitigate some of that. And then they listed 3 projects that helped them do that. They were Ripple, Stellar, and Solana. So what is happening is, if you think of the financial system as a plumbing system and liquidity running through it, there is a big stop up. Like your kid flushed your glasses down the toilet. And everything's coming up, everything's draining out. And so what this technology does, what does XRP do? On-demand liquidity.
Right.
What are we heading into? A liquidity crisis. We might need this technology. So everyone who's freaking out, what did you actually buy? Right. Did you understand that you're buying the future plumbing system and that the plumbing system is getting clogged? We had the COMEX shut down because of plumbing issues whenever all the silver stuff, and then their backup thing failed, and that shut down. There is a need for better financial plumbing, and so everyone's so bearish. Do you see? Like, I'm sitting here going like, all right, here we go. I'm so excited.
And it's so funny. I was looking for this post that I talked about the other day, where Trump had said the dollar is doing great. And I think it was yesterday, the day before I did a show, where they were talking about this is all part of the plan. The dollar losing this value, like it has to work this way for, the great reset of what they're trying to do. So it's like, even though we're sitting there going, what in the hell is going on? They're going, we're right on schedule. This is happening exactly the way it's supposed to happen. But we're not really understanding that.
Yeah, so what Trump is saying, like the dollar's doing exactly what he does whenever he's trying to execute the type of trade he's trying to. Okay. And so it plays into his favor, not necessarily it's just to whose favor, might not be yours. And I think it's interesting because we also had a few financial institutions come out and reweight their bond portfolio. So even like your normie, like those people are telling you something in the system is shifting, and what used to be true is no longer going to be. Oh, and back on the gold thing, here's the tinfoil hat time, okay? Okay. And why I think gold actually might be going higher, we might have another historical event like this. Okay. So Trump announced New Year. We're entering into America's golden era, okay? And then we had Maha, which we can talk about health too, because that's a very interesting conversation. Absolutely. We had, Maha, the health initiative. He came out and said, we're setting the gold standard for the health, And so I have a feeling a bunch of different departments are going to get this quote unquote gold standard setting. And whenever we get to the financial part of the market, it might be, guess what? This is the gold standard. I don't know. Again, that's my tinfoil crown. So and it could be, I think that there's a possibility of gold to reach 5 digits. And I think that silver could be 400, 500. No time frame, but in terms of future use case and how this system shifts, absolutely.
Now that happens, what type of effect would those type of numbers or that type of run do to, let's say, the crypto industry?
Well, crypto will be initiating that. So hopefully, maybe you bought a project that is tokenizing gold, like Dubai. I think they tokenized gold. Was it XDC or XRP? I can't remember. One of those. So, and then we have Paxos G. So we even have our own Federal Reserve tokenizing gold, and you can go out and. So did you buy Paxos G? Like, what is in your wallet? And was it tokenizing? And is it possibly going to tokenize any of these assets? Scott Bessent actually said. And it was in an interview, and it's fuzzy, but he was asked about what we're going to do with there's some sort of crisis, and he kind of steps in. He goes, "We're going to monetize our assets." And I'm like, and that kind of like went over people's heads. Right. and that's what I'm like, well, how would he monetize these assets? It'd be, we monetized the debt in 1971. We could monetize, our national parks, monetize oil, like tokenize it and then peg it to the dollar. So
I want to read this real quick. It was a Kabasi letter put it out. It says a weaker U.S. dollar helps drive looser financial conditions, rate cuts, higher nominal GDP growth, higher asset prices, higher U.S. exports, and a lower trade deficit, easier debt servicing for the government, a way to basically get rid of the debt. And this is why Trump said the dollar is doing great. So your thoughts on that to both of you guys, and any questions that you have for Brooke, because Ness, you're itching to ask her a couple questions there.
So like in regards to devaluing the dollar, well, there's $37 trillion in debt. If you devalue that, it costs less to pay it off.
That's
right.
That's right.
That's part of the strategy. To go back to one of the things that Brooke was talking about, and I hate to go backwards in the conversation.
No,
I'm going to do it to you.
Yeah.
Is the discrepancy between physical metals and paper metals, right? I got a vault in my back room here with 1 million ounces of gold, and I'm going to sell it to you. I'm a strong believer that a lot of those providers that have paper metals don't actually have nearly what they claim in their vaults, and they can't back it. And particularly in the silver, it seems like they're in a panic mode to try to push the price down because they have to cover that in cash, because we know they don't have all that silver. What effect do you think that is having on that market right now?
Great question.
Well, I have a post. I was watching silver, and I said, I think we're going to find out who shorted silver soon. And we went and invaded Venezuela soon after, and then the DOJ and JP Morgan took a stake in a silver smelting place there. So I have a feeling that a few of them are short silver. And yes, so before a battle is ever fought on the ground, it's fought in the financial markets. So that is what I think is happening on a very high level.
Interesting. Very interesting. So, I mean, right now, obviously, you have a vast knowledge of what's going on. You understand it, like you said, and I'm the same way. I said this over the last month or so. I couldn't be more excited because the chaos that we're seeing is really the foundation that's being laid so that this industry can move in the direction that it needs to move, which is going to be advantageous for us. This is what we've prayed for and hoped for years. It's just not the way people thought it was going to be. Everybody thought it's going to be a flip of the switch. Well, that comes after everything is put in place. Is that kind of right to say that?
It's interesting. Like, if there is any case for there to be a flip of the switch moment, it might. And I don't say I subscribe to that type of mentality. Mm-hmm. It's a I don't know. I'm not them. Now, right. My brain, I can visualize that type of happening, and kind of how I see that possibly setting up right now is it's pretty interesting that we are having a hard time buying these assets now because I'm getting word that exchanges are having a hard time. Are you guys hearing that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Loud and clear.
And so interesting that it's going to be really hard to get in and out of a position at this time. And there's this crisis. And then, I mean, it's big what's happening right now in banking. Yeah. Something broke either way. So it's interesting problem. And then we have a meeting that we might be announcing those type of solutions.
Well, let me ask you this, Brooke. You brought up a interesting point of, is this planned out? What I've seen in this industry, and again, this is going on my 9th year in crypto, which is just crazy to even say that. What I've seen sometimes, and especially during the whole Gary Gensler era, the whole Operation Choke Point 2.0, everything that we went through, what they're really good is causing chaos on the left while they're implementing what they really want to do on the right. Is this possibly one of those things? And I remember hearing Jake Claver and Zach Rector and all these guys, Lewis Jackson, many of these guys talk about that, you may look up while you're sitting here trying to figure out what's going on. And like you said, exchanges, their supply for these utility assets like XRP and others, but we're going to particularly talk about XRP, they're depleting. And then all of a sudden you look up and the market starts moving, and there's no more XRP on exchanges. And, maybe that whole narrative that it wasn't created for us all of a sudden kicks in. because all these financial institutions, now the foundation's being laid, what we've been waiting for years, they snatch it up. And people who've been waiting on the side going, oh, this is a great time. Sorry, you can't get it. Or on that same mindset, you sell, you freak out and sell and can't get it back. And so
they did that both right now.
Yeah. So talk about that if you guys both can. Just that whole mindset of that possibility. That's for us. You can take it.
Yeah.
I mean, if I remember correctly, there's quite a few influencers talking about that really XRP is designed to not necessarily be a liquid asset for the public to own, right? And that's what's going to limit the supply and potentially push the price up. Now, there's potentially some caveats with that. I mean, it would possibly make it more difficult to sell, right? It's going to really push the value because no one can get their hands on it. But then who do you sell to? Is it only OTC? There's something to think about when it makes it to that stage when it's no longer accessible on exchanges. Like you've talked about many times, and maybe the place to make money is borrowing in yields rather than actually outright selling. Do you have any thoughts on that, Brooke?
So how the world is setting up right now. And so this kind of touches on geopolitical things, because this is how I see XRP possibly playing a role. We are moving from a unipolar world to a multipolar world. That just means like America is number one right now because of the dollar, because we export the dollar and the world uses the dollar. The world is moving off of the dollar and they're creating their own systems. I think that there will possibly anywhere from 2 to 3 type of nodes. Like there's going to be the America and their alliance, the Chinese ones, and I think like possibly another one in here emerging. Yeah.
So when you say Chinese, you're referring to like BRICS, the BRICS nations?
Yes, possibly the BRICS nations. And then a few other lines are being redrawn. When I watched the WEF, I saw that as they know we're going to a multipolar world. I watched Canada. Carney chose China. And I'm sitting here in America and everyone's just like, he's so good. I'm like, and here's the thing. I don't think that we will just let them go silently into the night to China. I think that we will want to take over the whole, at least northern western half of the hemisphere. All right. So how does XRP play in a multipolar world? Now we have a neutral. Neutral is a really interesting term when you're talking about a multipolar world. We have a neutral bridge currency that now we have all these other, and we're kind of we have this animosity happening right now on the other side of this. Now, because we have this neutral bridge currency, which shifts from, we're in a trust system right now, which is why we have these banks and intermediaries. We're moving to a trustless system. And so you can have a trustless system when you have a neutral bridge currency of which opposing people can all look at, and we can trust the code and we don't have to trust each other.
Right.
So the setup, guys, it's like everyone's freaking out and calling for Armageddon. And I'm saying, this is the Super Bowl.
No, and I definitely agree with that narrative. And, it's something I've thought about for a while, and I think that's kind of what my question was. I think there's a lot of truth in what you're saying. I think there's a lot of truth in this has all been set up this way, and I think there's a lot of truth in what people have been saying for some years now, and that is going to come a time where you can't access XRP because it wasn't created for us, and if you sell, and I think that's the whole narrative that most people aren't going to make it to some of those bigger numbers when that does play out. And I'm not here to try to, fear anyone or, into buying more. But I just think it's one of those things that you definitely have to have a strategy, because you might look up and need to sell some and can't get it back. And I think that's kind of where I was going with that. Where should the mindset of the investor who's freaking out right now, and this is to both of you guys, I have my own take on this, but what should the investor who thought, and I'm gonna touch a subject that I'm gonna try to be as careful as I can. Obviously, we saw a lot of price predictions at the end of 2025, and that stirred up some controversial things from some different parties, and we won't talk about that. I covered that on my one of my other shows. People throwing out some prices, people giving out hey, there's a huge like a 90-something% chance that this is going to hit $100, and so a lot of it just kind of messed up a lot of people. So for the people who thought maybe they would see a $5 or $10 XRP already, and then all of a sudden this is happening, what do you say to those people right now? What should they be doing? And I know it's not financial advice, but where should people's mindset be at right now? Those who are freaking out in a big way.
I'm gonna take a crack at that one. So I'm a firm believer. No one ever knows what's going to happen in the market. You don't know what's going to go up and what's going to go down, right? But there's always an opportunity. A crash is an opportunity. I mean, I made the most money I ever made was during the Luna crash. I hate to say it because it was really, really terrible for a lot of people. But I bought the bottom. I made tens of thousands of dollars in a day off of $98 trade.
Wow.
So there's always opportunity in the market, and although the sky is falling for one person, it's an entry for the next. I mean, we were looking at XRP at $3, saying, "Man, I wish I could get $1.70." Well, you can get $1.70 right now, right? So that would be really what I try to get into everyone's heads: is there's always an opportunity, and make the most of it.
Yeah. Now, obviously, we can circle back to more topics in crypto, and obviously we want to talk about health and some other things that we had brought up the other day, NestForce. But one of the things I want to talk about is relationships in this community, and something that I preached about for years is finding connecting with people like a buddy system, right? Finding people that, like, for example, when we all have our ups and downs, especially over the last 9 years. You have questions, you have almost like a support system. For me, I've got quite a few people. I've got Mike O, a friend of mine for 30 years who's in crypto. I've got John Singh, who's 40-year friend of mine who's in crypto. I've got several others like Griff and Iron Man and Crypto OG. Would you guys agree that it's maybe a good idea to have somebody that you can connect with, so you're not freaking out, so that you can and all those people that I talk to are smarter than me in certain areas, and so I don't want to be the smartest guy in the room. I want to be able to go and get some really valuable advice, and what that does is just kind of, and not to say that you should go out there, obviously do your own research, obviously have your own plan. This is your life, your story. So, but I think that's very, very important to have that type of support system. You guys agree with that?
1,000,000%. The most valuable asset I've ever come across since I've gotten into crypto is the human beings that I've interacted with. I could go to zero right now and I wouldn't care. I know you now, 6'8", get to know Brooke now. I've met all the people for my podcast. I'm developing music for Web3 games right now. So it's like, that is by far the most valuable asset. I don't care if the market goes to zero. I'm still a happy human being.
And as Brooke gets ready to answer this, that's where I've gotten a lot of joy and peace, because there's people in my family. It's like talking about this is like talking a foreign language. They don't want to hear it. And especially times like, I told you, that kind of thing, even though we're still way up, especially for those of us who got in early. But to me, I am completely in love with, my family, just the people, my wife, feels the same way, because what it does, it just helps that togetherness. And because if not, it could be a lonely road in crypto if you don't have those type of connections. Brooke?
I actually started my channel all those years ago because no one in my real life was listening to me, and I needed community. That's and right. I echo what Force says, because I have said the exact same thing over on TikTok where we have discussions. I've said those exact words. I've already won. I have some of the best people, I've met the best people, you guys being a few of them. Like, this is kind of like a weird reference, but like, I understand Candace Owens. Like, I love some of these brothers so much that if anything were to happen to you, I'm gonna hunt someone down. That's how I feel.
Awesome. I see my wife is in here. Brooke, you actually wanted me to send her a message earlier, and I said, well, you can tell her she pops in. So Jeanette's here.
Jeanette, hello. I told your husband, I was like, tell Jeanette hello for me. She was like, you got to tell her yourself.
Well, the way you say, you was like, tell your beautiful wife. I'm like, no, if I say it, she'll just think I added in because we're married. But no, shouts out to the community. I had actually the comments on the right side, and then I took it out and I just put somebody in timeout because they're just getting a little bit ridiculous. So I'm just going to go back to personally posting the comments myself. So with that being said, guys, let's talk about, and I know this is something very close to you, Ness Force. I've heard you talk about it, Brooke. I know you probably feel the same way. Health is the real wealth. Right. And I know, a lot of us have been waiting and waiting and waiting. We get so caught up in waiting, and it can cause, honestly, a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress, a lot of different things. But at the end of the day, man, look, you got to take care of yourself from a mental perspective. This is something my wife has really embedded on me because, look, I tried my best to blame everything on COVID weight until I couldn't do it anymore. Right. COVID is over. I can't say I got COVID weight and that's why I'm eating. Right. So she's got us on this. What is it? I think it's called the don't eat. You can't eat until 12, and then you only eat past 8. What is that called? Like a
intermittent fasting.
There you go, intermittent fasting. And then she's got us on just eating healthy right now and all that stuff. So walking every day and all that. So just why is that important, especially being in this space or just in general? And anything you guys got to speak on that? Health is a real wealth.
What, if you don't mind me asking, 6-8, what is your fasting periods? You're doing like 16 hours off, 8 hours on?
Well, here's the thing. So I got to tell us, I'm not good at fasting. Like I remember there was some years ago, actually about 10 years ago, I lost like 60 pounds and I had a better physique than I had when I played pro ball. But then years later, gained some weight back. And then my wife put us on what she called the Beyonce diet. Right. I didn't know what the hell a Beyonce diet was. Apparently celebrities like Beyonce and J-Lo and a lot of these people, they use this after having children and things like that. I think some people call it the lemonade diet. So we tried that. We tried the lemonade diet with cayenne pepper and water and drinking that for 5 days. Look, I'm going to tell you guys right now, I started shaking after like a day and a half. My wife made it farther than I did. And so one day she was really good. She could make the kids sandwiches for lunch. This is years ago when we still were in California with our kids. She was making a simple bologna sandwich for the kids. And I started shaking. I grabbed that damn thing and ate it so quick. I had literally a breakdown. I couldn't do it. So she knows I can't do lemonade diet. I can't. So we kind of negotiated where I get up in the morning. Right now I'm eating, I take some nutrition. I'm eating like a little granola, maybe a banana. She's got me drinking, I think it's called bone broth or something like that. Which again, this is all new to me. And then in the evening, like yesterday, she did like, what's it called? Cabbage and turkey, where it was like no fat or something like that. So she's doing stuff like that, and just trying to get it where we're more healthy. We're just trying to, take it, make a move in the positive direction. But just any feedback that you guys or experiences you guys have had with fasting, because, and let me say this, a lot of people say fasting is extremely healthy for you. So just kind of elaborate on that.
Okay. So 6-8, you made it to the wall when you were getting those shakes.
Oh, man.
The longest I've gone is 36 hours. There's about a 12-hour wall. And I'm the type of person, I put 3 sugars in my coffee. Typically, if you consume more sugar and carbs and stuff like that, it's even harder once you hit that wall. I'm telling you, once you get past it, that 12-hour wall, maybe even a little more, it might be a day, depending on who you are, you feel amazing. Okay? Yeah. So you have to realize that there's this like mountain you have to overcome of like, man, I want that bologna sandwich, right? But then once you get past it and you get past the shakes and everything, you feel great. And actually, I made it that 36 hours, and I'd like to go further. I think I could have made it 2 or 3 days at that point. Once I ate, I actually kind of felt yucky. I don't want to swear. I was going to say something else. So you got the 6-year-old version. But yeah, when you're fasting, you get to a point where you feel amazing. I think it's called autophagy. I'm going to say it wrong. But you get to a point where your body's essentially living off of itself, and everything's regenerating. It feels amazing. And I actually regret eating at 36 hours because I could have gone a lot longer.
The only time I've ever done that, it wasn't by choice, is when I got like COVID. I got really sick. And then I went like, a day. But it's funny because even though I'm kind of joking about that a little bit, it's like after that day, I wasn't even hungry. I know, you're sick or whatever, but you get to the point like, I mean, I think I want to eat, but I'm not really hungry. So I know what you're talking about in that that 24-hour period where you're sick and you don't want to eat because you're sick. But if I could somehow just mentally get past that, because I've had random people that I know in business and personal life, like, Jay, you gotta fast. And so it's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know you can do it 60.
Hey, I'm a try, brother. If I could eat that, I love my wife to death. She's my best friend. I've been with her for 17 years. She's my dream, right? But she's also my drug dealer. She got me hooked on coffee 2 years ago, and so
Coffee.
I'm doing my best not to report her, but hey, I keep trying to get non-decaffeinated. But go ahead, guys.
Yeah, I've done a 3-day fast before, and I'm actually planning on doing it again. It's easier if you do a ketogenic diet before and you cut out the carbs first, because then you can
Mm,
get your body into ketosis, and then you can go into that 3-day fast. Because what is the mechanism that's making you not hungry is your
right,
body switching from that fat to fuel. That's ketosis process, and that tampers down the hunger. And it feels really good. It's the second day is the worst. The third day felt amazing. And
wow,
so I'm late stage diagnosed ADHD. Late stage, like I'm 37. I only found out I'm ADHD last year.
right.
It all makes sense. Um, but what was it? I did that before my ADHD diagnosis, and it made my ADHD symptoms that now I know are ADHD symptoms. It made my head so clear. I wasn't I wasn't as severe. And now, whenever I track my food intake with like, I like to personally, this is kind of my rule of thumb in my health. And when I'm unhealthy, I'm eating things with more than 2 ingredients in it.
Mm,
I'm eating things from bags. So when I think about my health, I like to keep it to like one ingredient, like, you know, if possible, and then cook it all together. But everything I'm cooking with, it being a whole ingredient, whole food.
right.
And I just have to stay away from the bread and the carbs. So my kids were sick with the flu for a week, and
Right.
then we had a snowstorm. So I have been trapped inside my
Wow.
house for 2 weeks, and eating all the things, cooking all the things, because you get cookies and milk, and you come in from outside. You have the hot chocolate and the soups and the breads. I and Yeah, I need to get there, and it's worth it. It's so worth it. Your health
Yeah,
is so worth it.
it's funny because that people don't realize how important just those two things, like soda was that's like my kryptonite. Like that's something I had to stop doing. And then bread, everything bread. So, but those two things, replacing that with more water and things, it definitely makes a world of difference. And I remember a while back, like I said, when I lost that weight, that 60 pounds, and I let go of all sodas. When I had soda again, it was like probably a year or something like that later. You would have thought I drunk battery acid. It's unbelievable when your body's not used to that crap, how it actually makes you feel. It's crazy.
True.
It's
That's
crazy.
true.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
saw a documentary. It was about these two brothers in Australia, and it elaborated upon other cases. They did a 21-day fast, and then they showed, a couple other people. They were in groups, and they were using it. Not in their case, but in the other people they showed. This guy was trying to beat, like, he had some sort of injury and just believed that would regenerate his cells, and so he wanted to do it. But there was a whole group of people that were using it to beat like stage 4 cancer. I don't know. I guess it was some sort of form of starving out the cancer, and then basically the cells can't reproduce enough because cancer is essentially a cell that the body should be rejecting that it isn't, and it's some sort of like miracle cure all hack according to these groups. Now, obviously, I'm not medical professional. I can't back any of that up, but it was a really interesting thought, and to some degree, it makes sense, right? Humans didn't have readily available food, whatever we wanted every single day up until very, very recently in our history. So it would make sense that like we naturally went through fasting phases anyways. And that's probably how our body's designed to operate. Winters, for example, you're not going to have too much to live off of. Maybe you'll go
Yeah.
kill a deer or something and just eat meat all the time,
Yeah.
you know. But I was going to ask Brooke, are you aware of any of that? Like some of those groups in Australia or anything where they do the 21-day fast to beat cancer?
Yeah, I've heard those before.
Wow.
And yeah, it's one of those things, you like you do the mental exercise. If I ever got cancer, what would I do? And fasting is one of the first things that I would do. I think it's interesting that every I shouldn't say, I can't say every faith tradition, but your major faith traditions all
Yeah.
have fasting as a part of
Yeah.
their practice.
Yeah.
That mental clarity, I think there's very something to the spirit, body, and then like how we interface into the world that I think it clears out too. And because now your mind, like all these things, your processes, the energy doesn't have to go to digestion and stuff. Like things get a break, things get cleared out, you get clear head, you get regrounded almost. Like the bad things, like it's also breaking bad habits, because if you can for 3 days, going back to that sugar, like you said, that's hard to do then on your tummy. So I think that there's a symbolism there. There's a real symbolism there of getting rid of the past and going towards the future.
Yeah, well, I'm taking baby steps. Like I said, for me, it's something I'm pushing towards, and it's amazing because even what my wife had me doing now, I would wake up just thinking I needed to eat. Like, oh well, it's kind of like a routine. Oh, I need to eat. Oh, I'm sitting here bored. Oh, that kind of thing. And once you get out of that, and the kind of the schedule she has me on now, I'm like, and I've been telling her last couple days, I was like, babe, I'm not even hungry. It's so weird because now that I'm thinking about it, I'm not actually hungry. What am I eating for? But before it was like, oh, wake up, take my nutrition, have a sandwich. Oh, I'm kind of bored. Go grab a cookie, grab a soda pop, grab some chips. Because we have a game room that has like it's every person's like freaking dream gamer's got all the snacks and all the crap, and so and I do it. For
I'm a mom. I do that too.
Yeah. So I do it for when people come over and got all. But I'm like, man, I got to stay out of that damn room. But so let's get back into something. I want to share this with you guys. And Nesforce, you brought this up. Let's see if I can actually go. Here we go. So you brought this up, and I wanted to make sure that I shared this. Let's see, where's it at here? It was by Good Evening Crypto. Well, he just shared it. So this was, I guess, something that was put out. Obviously, the whole, and I don't want to get too much into the whole Epstein thing. I know all that stuff was just released. When did you say when that was? That's was yesterday?
Yeah, I want to say yesterday around 2 p.m. Eastern time. Don't quote me on that, but they released like 2 million documents, bunch of videos, bunch of photos.
Oh man, I've been seeing it all over X. This person's in there. And I'm like, oh my god, here we go with this. So
what a perfect time!
And what a perfect time, right?
Yeah.
But in this, this shows one of the maybe emails that went out. It was to Jeffrey Epstein from a guy named Reed Hoffman. Not sure who it is. It says, "Hey guys, we obviously had," and then had something about Stellar. I'm not sure what the relationship with Jed McCaleb, I guess what he's talking about, and the team are. I know obviously some of the players, but this is a problem for us. Would one of you please give me a call at, and it has his number. I can explain some of the issues, but basically I've been asked by the other co-founders to reduce or take your allocation away. Ripple and Jed's new Stellar are bad for the ecosystem. We are building, and it does our company damage to have investors who are backing two horses of the same race. It says, happy to discuss Best Austin. Now, there are some people who I saw, I think it was Patrick Riley, that took this and said, hey, I told you guys that, and he had a big old thing that he put out, and I was reading through it. Very interesting. I like Patrick Riley, very interesting. He was saying just, how they purposely went after upon things. He was kind of predicating that off of what he read. Joe Katz came out, David Schwartz, and he said, based off of this, he says, I don't know of any connection between Jeffrey Epstein and Ripple, XRP, or Stellar. I know of any evidence anyone at Ripple or Stellar ever met with Epstein or anyone closely connected to him. There are some indirect ties between Epstein and people connected to Bitcoin in various ways, but that's probably true of most very wealthy people. So have you guys heard about any of this and your thoughts on, them, with all this stuff coming out, all of a sudden they got Ripple, or is it just doesn't really mean anything? I don't know. Yeah.
It's the first I'm hearing of this. I mean, I don't really know. I think when it comes to all the Epstein stuff, just because someone's mentioned doesn't mean they're guilty. Like there was emails to Elon Musk and everyone was freaking out. Elon's on the list. And it was basically him. He kept blowing off Jeffrey Epstein and being like, I can't make it, blah, blah, blah. Like kind of leave me alone, but I don't want to say that directly. So I think it's best to not jump to conclusions. Now, if you have a picture of somebody with a 15-year-old girl around their arms, and everybody's in the hot tub together, that's a little worse, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think with all this, you got to be careful not to jump to conclusions till we rake through everything, which is probably going to take at least a year. There's 2 million documents, you know. I'm assuming right
Yeah.
now everyone's kind of using AI to scan through it and say, okay, search for this name, and then they go through and find it. And one other thing that's really interesting about these documents I want to mention, I don't know if you guys are aware, but the original, the first ones that they let out like a month or two ago, pretty recently, not the early ones that were a hoax, but the more recently ones with the redactions, you could actually put the redactions into a Word document and they didn't redact them. They actually just highlighted it in
I
black and
saw
you could
that.
take away the highlight. Now, I wonder if that's the case
Mm,
with this release. Hopefully they,
mm.
clean that up. And I've always wondered, was that on purpose?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I was reading some things in regards to Bitcoin being mentioned with the files. So I mean, will the release of those files and the timing of those files have any kind of effect on the markets?
Oh, I think they already are.
Mm,
But I think, and like you said, I like how you said that. Just because they're mentioned doesn't mean they're guilty. You have to realize, like, this man was in like Harvard classroom. He's trying to get his. He's strategic. He's talked to multiple people. He's trying to. He's a wolf in sheep's clothing.
mm.
They lie in wait. They so you know. Um, uh, they're opportunistic and yeah, it's so exactly what you said. It just be this guy was so interconnected. I mean, think about like
Everybody.
how many people have we take picture, we're at gatherings and stuff, something comes out and it's like you're with them, are you friends, like you got to be careful. So
I think the what's the word I'm looking for? But just you would think it would be a certain type of person, but this dude was connected to like everybody. Like I don't care what your race, your nationality, if it was country, it was hip hop, political. I mean, it's like was everybody tied into this guy? I mean, because that's kind of how it's being portrayed with all these names that are coming out. Just I'm hearing from, and I don't want to be the person but this stuff that's being put out there from Jay-Z to presidents to I'm just like what this is crazy to athletes to I'm just like this is nuts. How was that guy? Or is it just like one of those inner circle, little dirty, scammy worlds that everybody was connected to because they felt like they could get away with it or were protected?
Well, like Brooke was saying, I think Jeffrey Epstein was he wanted blackmail on anyone who was powerful and influential. So if you were that class of person, you had a target on your back, and you better believe he reached out to you one way or another to try to get that leverage on people. I, I
Wow.
don't I don't really think he was the top of the pyramid, but I think he was close. And it was his job to get that dirt, get that leverage on extremely powerful people. So just being powerful, you're gonna be somewhere in that web because he's gonna reach out to you. That's my belief. Obviously, I can't
yeah,
necessarily prove that, but
Right,
that's what makes the
right,
most
right,
sense to me.
right.
right,
Everybody was comfortable following everybody else because they thought they were protected as one of those, closed doors type things where nobody would know. But then this guy saw an opportunity of that to blackmail. And I mean, like I said, I don't want to get into the whole conspiracy of how he passed away and all that, but it's just crazy. So,
well, did
um,
you know that we grew Maxwell's dad was in the publishing company that
Mhm.
printed our textbooks. Like
no,
every yeah, that's her daddy. Like
wow,
it's all yeah, it gets deep. Everything's a lie, everyone.
wow.
Welcome to the show.
And
Do
there's
you
connections to Mossad. Like it gets really crazy. Yeah.
so
It
so
gets
so
deep.
going back to the crypto because I know a lot of people are tuning in here going, okay, let's get back on crypto. But my thing is this: could we be looking at another 30-something day shutdown, or do you think this is going to be very short term? Hard to say.
Let you go.
Yeah,
Hard to
who
say.
knows? We have no idea. I didn't really see that last one coming. Um, honestly,
I would have thought back to back. There's no way I would have thought that. But I mean, what kind of game are they playing? Is this
that
this is
seems to
crazy
be
to
a
me.
Trump tactic, and I'm not saying that to take a shot at Trump,
Mm,
but typically when he's in office, he's like, I don't care, let's shut it down. Again, to use leverage to try to get what he wants done,
Yeah.
and that's not taking a position pro or against Trump. It's just he has his ways of doing business that are a little bit different than what we're used to with presidents. Like he tends to posture, right?
Right.
Like he'll say, "Oh, well, I'm going to go invade Greenland." I don't think he had intentions of actually invading Greenland, but he'll throw that statement out there to get them to come to the table and negotiate. So
Yeah, he'll throw past the target and get you in the middle.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
kind of like, okay, I'm selling a bike. I want to get $50 for it. Well, if I do the Trump tactic, I'm going to put 100 on it and let you come and negotiate. And we'll get down to $50. You're going to say $20, and then he meets in the middle. And it's probably from his real estate background or whatever. But yeah, he tends to posture, and letting the government shut down is one of his postures of, cool, we'll shut it down for a year. I don't care. And then he gets people to come to the table and negotiate.
Now,
Yeah.
I also want to ask you guys this. Obviously, with we've been seeing with the banks trying to hold everything up, and not wanting people to earn yield. I know I haven't talked to any of you guys about this. I want to get you guys' perspective on that, and how is that going to play out? Will they come to the table and negotiate that? Is that because I know how I feel personally. I think it's BS that you're going to tell me I can't earn money on my money and things like that. But obviously, that issue and that monopoly they've had is something they're trying to block, and why they're fighting so hard from companies like Ripple and others not to get the national banking charter license and for people to be able to earn yield on their crypto or on their stable coin. So just you guys' thoughts on that. Is this going to be something that keeps us at bay from getting things passed, or are they going to have some kind of maybe medium agreement where we can move forward, kind of like Brad said in that. And on top of that, the whole debate between Brad Garlinghouse saying, look, it's better to have clarity than chaos, and then Brian Armstrong saying, hey, no, because obviously they got a lot of services that would hurt and affect. So those two kind of going, I wouldn't say going at it. Brian Armstrong kind of feeling a certain way about Brad. Go ahead. Start choking. Go ahead.
You can take that if you'd like.
I'm going to let Brooke tackle this one. This is her area of expertise. So,
Are you the question again?
So basically, you saw Brad Garlinghouse saying, "Look, we need to move forward. We need to get this bill passed.
The bank,
We need to. It's better to have something than chaos, right? Clarity than chaos," he said. And then Brian Armstrong, who would be greatly affected with some of the service he's providing, saying, "Hey, hell no! What kind of crap? I'm not supporting that crap." And so, what do you feel how this is going to play out?
So the banks have everything to lose in something like this, but I also think that there's a plan there. I think banks will ultimately get in the game of stable coins, and they will possibly want this. I think banks will be in the stable coin business. I think the higher people up in banking know this to be the fact. But truly, so the adoption in America might take a little bit longer because the legacy system has everything to lose with this technology unless they get a rail on it. Now, other developmental worlds who don't have as integrated and global financial system like ours and a well-established banking system, this technology is amazing for them. So what banks are missing here is now they have competition and they're trying to shove the competition here, but they're probably going to cut off their nose in spite of their face because it will just reroute around the opposition.
Well, Brooke, let me ask you this. Could this be like posturing? And what I mean by that, they know it's inevitable, kind of like when the SEC was getting towards the end and to get ready to settle with Ripple, and they said we want $2 billion, and they're like, "You're not getting $2 billion," but they know what they really wanted. So is this one of those posturing things where they're saying, we don't want this, but maybe to get maybe more of a rate that is advantageous for them rather than giving most of it to the consumer? Like, is this maybe a negotiating tactic?
Maybe. If you want to know my bias, I think banks are there to screw us.
For sure.
I think that, and now we have this awesome technology. We can unscrew the American public, and you're wanting to fight that. Right. Awesome, banks. I see you.
Right.
And that's kind of the message I want to get out, to the normies in my life. Be you want to realize that your cash is sitting in a savings account, getting nothing. Oh, sorry. And we have this new technology and we could be getting so much yield off of everything. It's because of the stupid banking system that I can't, that's already rigged against me, devalues my money, prints money for wars. Like, come on, guys. And you want to know what's fascinating to me? Everyone who is defending the Fed right now, I'm like, and then they're like, the independence of the Fed is in the, and I'm like, do you even know what that means? Great, they're independent. Who owns them? Oh, I can't know that because they're a privately held company, cash cartel.
Yeah.
But I can't know, and so it's so funny whenever you see these social justice warriors, and just because they hate the orange man, they're like, "You go, Jerome Powell. You
Right.
stand up to him," and I'm like, they're literally the cause of all your suffering.
Yeah, I agree.
So I just go,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, sorry.
No,
For that
no.
tangent,
No,
so
you're
sorry.
good. You're good. No, this Anthony Weiner puts this in here and it says, was Trump ever pro crypto? And, I have a lot of different feelings about this personally, and I don't try to get too much into it just because I know how people feel. I think we are a lot better off today than we were under the last administration. That's for sure. Now, do I agree with everything? No. Do I agree that we are, one of the things that we always heard, and I want to get you guys' opinion on this, like, you're going to win so much, you're going to get tired of winning. Well, we haven't seen that yet. It's been a year. So that's a little bit, and I've got mixed feelings on, the first thing I ever seen happen with crypto when Trump came in office was Melania and Trump coin. And and I don't care how you call it, that to me is one of the greatest rug pulls ever. I don't care how you say it. And then for certain laws and things or certain things to be tweaked by the SEC so that it wasn't illegal. All of a sudden you saw a hot tour girl get off, you saw this person get off. So just
I forgot about her.
Yeah. So I mean, it was all these scams that became okay because hey, we get it, we go after them. We got to go after Trump and all this other stuff. And then also you see his teenage son on Forbes that he made almost $200 million off that coin, and it sits right at maybe $4 right now if we're lucky, maybe $4. So a lot of people got thrashed and trashed. So just your opinions, and again, on making America great again as far as crypto, or getting sick and tired of winning, which I haven't seen it yet, but just your thoughts on that. And I think what kind of led me into that was Trump was Anthony Weiner saying, was Trump ever crypto? And a lot of times what I see with Trump too is when he's bringing up Bitcoin, he goes, Bitcoin's gonna do good, right? That's what you said, right? So I guess I should be saying it's just so crazy. I don't know what the guy feels about it, but yeah, just any feedback on that.
So I think he's to kind of elaborate upon what I was saying before, he's the type of person that leverages his position, right?
Yeah.
He's going to be pro crypto when he's campaigning to get in office, because that small percentage of the country, whether it's 2% or 5%, is enough to swing all the swing states, right? Now, does that mean he's necessarily going to stab us in the back? I don't know. I don't think so.
I don't know.
I hope not. I do think that he will get some legislation passed, but it hasn't happened yet, right? So I'm not sick of winning because we haven't won enough. And then as far as his meme coin, it shows how much he was still a rookie in this, right? Because he didn't even rug his rug correctly. If you were going to do a rug, it was pumping. It was like $100 billion market cap. And what ruined the momentum was launching Melania like 2 days later.
Yeah.
Right?
And when you say he, I don't think we're saying he because it was everyone around him. Yeah, his team. Right.
Team.
Exactly. Right. Team,
But they screwed up because the way the tokenomics were set up, basically 80% went to insiders, and they had pumped it up, and they were going to release it very slowly. It was like a 1% every week or something.
So you said something very important as for they screwed up, but did they screw it up, or is that just a reflection of just greed, which a lot of people, honestly, you can say screw up or you can say greed, because like you said, if they knew better, they could have made a hell of a lot more money.
Yeah, so they would have made a lot more money if they just didn't launch Melania and let Trump stay at a healthy price and then slowly bled it like they had planned to, because that 80% that went to insiders unlocked very, very slowly, and it would have maintained a higher price. And it also wouldn't have broken Solana network, because people were trying to get out of Trump, get into Melania, and the trading prices, the gas fees were, I think, the highest ever on Solana. So they caused major, major traffic issues.
Right.
So they kind of exposed Solana at the same time too, which I don't think was their intention. So they even screwed themselves as far as optimizing how much profit they could make for their insiders. So it was a blunder from all angles, in my opinion.
I made this comment here. I think it was last week. I said, look, we've been very patient as Americans. We were promised a whole lot. And, give us something, even during this difficult time, I feel like this, and you guys let me know how you feel about this. Even if you gave us what you said you would give us, promises made, promises kept, how about no capital gains tax on American crypto? That would be a great start.
Awesome.
That would be a great start. I mean, because you weren't hesitant on the Trump gold coin for $5 million or card or whatever the hell it was for people to come in. And that brought you a lot of money and it brought a lot of people in and you made money. But what about doing something for the freaking American people? Because I know you do a lot for yourself with the Trump gold card, that $5 million to become a citizen or whatever the hell it was for a business and your coin. So that's where I get frustrated as an American. You sold me a pig in lipstick, but it's still a pig. You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of how I feel, guys. Anything you guys want to add to that?
So a few things that did get passed, and I'm not defending him. Like, I really try to take an independent position. I tend to lean conservative, but I'm not defending him. If you look at the big, beautiful bill, there is a couple advantages that are in there. No tax on tips went through.
I agree.
And then no tax on overtime, to the best of my knowledge. Please correct me if I'm wrong. And then there's also some really excellent loopholes for income property owners that are also working a day job that file W-2s. They can now actually write off their income properties. And I think there's some level of borrowing against. So it's very similar to giving the same advantages like an LLC or a corporation would have to somebody who's filing a W-2 and happens to have an income property that isn't their primary residence. And feel free to correct me or elaborate upon any of that. So that's just a few advantages that he did promise that are getting out there. I mean, he even talked about no income tax at all. And I think the compromise was, hey, let's throw out some loopholes so at least the W-2 filers can have some of the advantage that these big guys do.
No, I agree with what you said 1,000%. I want Brooke to chime in on this as well. What I'm talking about is during that campaign, he specifically got the crypto community to back him up and got some of the biggest names in crypto to jump on his side, right? And he did that. And all I'm saying is I am so ecstatically happy about getting paid on overtime and all the things he's done. That's what I'm saying. There's a lot of good. But the only people that I felt up until this point that have won tremendously in crypto is his family. And so all I'm saying is give us something. Give us a freaking bone. I'm not saying it's going to change the market, but give us something that shows good faith in the fact that we backed you. The biggest names in crypto backed you, but we haven't seen anything other than mostly over the last year chaos.
Yeah. Patience, my friend.
No. I get. I'm no. Understand. I'm gonna say this as kindly as I can. I started dollar cost averaging Bitcoin at 3,000. I started buying XRP at 12, 15. Like it has created immense wealth for me and my family. Right. So, but I'm talking about.
I understand.
When I speak, this is a guy who used to travel the world on some of the biggest stages, talking about how people can better themselves from a financial perspective. When I'm frustrated for the American, not myself. Like I can't be frustrated. I would. I probably deserve to go to hell if I started complaining after all the things that it's done for me. But for the average American person who's frustrated, I'm saying give them something. I speak for the people. Right.
Tune in Monday.
Well, a lot of people saying things. So talk about that. Like, there's some things as far as Monday. There's some things people are saying February 3rd. There's some stuff that's supposed to be happening or 6 or something like that. So what are some positive things that are being said that people maybe can look forward to maybe in the short term?
I don't know what's being said. I've been off.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Okay. Yeah, that's right. You are okay. Next one. Go ahead.
I've not been freaking out with everyone else. After I get off of here, I will jump into the chaos.
Right. No, I understand. No, definitely that. And again, I think for me, reading all the comments, getting messages from people, 6-8, what's going on? And it's like, I get it. After 9 years, I'm not in the game of freaking out. And, and I say this very kindly, we've come so far that even though we're down, some of us are still way up. All I'm saying is that we the people, of this great country are waiting to get tired of winning. And I don't think anybody's in that point yet. So I know there's a lot of things that have to be implemented for that. But all I'm saying is give us something that we can say, okay, well, you know what? It's great you're doing all this stuff with tax, but how about some things that you promised us, the crypto community? Haven't seen too much with that yet. And that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Yeah.
Specific to crypto, he's still falling short. Like, okay, for example, eggs are $2 again, gas is $3. That's better than $7 eggs and $4 gas.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
He said he was going to end Ukraine, Russia on the first day. That didn't happen. And it's
Right.
been a year. I mean, sure,
Yeah.
maybe he was being hyperbolic, and by first day he meant it's going to take me a couple months, but
Yeah.
it fell short on that. So, we want to be honest with ourselves about where he's done well and where he hasn't. And
He's done some good too. I mean, I
yeah,
think he's playing a masterful game of chess with all the stuff he's doing as far as tariffs and things. So I'm not
yeah.
against any of that stuff. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
even if you're pro Trump, it's your duty as a citizen. Like, we got to hold him to the fire and
That part.
make sure that he does the best job possible.
That's
Because
right.
even if you love everything he's doing, well, you only got him for 3 more years.
That
Get the
part.
most out of it. Get the
That
most
part.
out of it. And if you hate him, that's fine too. Do your part as a citizen, campaign, whatever, and get your guys elected. You
Yeah.
know,
I try not to talk too much about politics or religion, but here's what I will say. As a father, as a son and a husband, as an American who got sick and tired of living in like a old, I don't want to get too spiritual, but like in the Bible times, they talk about Sodom and Gomorrah. I mean, I'm glad to be out of that whole woke system that we're in and all that crap and the dark cloud that was over this country. So I'm definitely happy where we're at. Definitely want to just see more things happening and giving people opportunity to see that there's some light at the end of the rainbow. So with that being said, guys, we're at just an hour and 10 minutes. Definitely thank all the people that are here right now. Appreciate you guys in a major way. Anything you guys want to add before we get out of here? I think we covered like a lot of different things. Anything from a personal perspective? Anything that you guys are doing personally, projects or feelings?
I read one of those comments, and I get told this a lot. They're like, it sounds like you want this financial crash to happen, and I do not. So I, it's unfortunate, and it's actually really, it takes a mental toll on you, kind of seeing things and knowing what's going to happen. And then I got really like I have a farm, a little homestead, and I created it in 2018, just knowing it's really a food inflation. I didn't know that 2020 was going to happen, but I understood fiat currency.
Right.
I understand history. And so I bought a farm and built a farm, I should say. I built a farm. We built a farm. And with the anticipation that something like this might happen, much like the Great Depression. And so, unfortunately, recently, that has come to fruition. Or maybe thankful, but also thankfully, because now I'm in a position when eggs were $8, people who were struggling around me weren't buying $8 eggs. They were getting healthy farm fresh eggs.
Wow.
Whenever
Wow.
people are losing their job, now I can like stretch their, I can put meat in their freezer. And I've had to, in my head and creating the farm, like, it's like if this did have would and that is happening for me right now. So it showed so I don't want this to happen. I take it very seriously. I have family that depends on their 401k to come in every month, those returns. So this isn't something I seem giddy and stuff because there's my academic mind, then my theory, and I see that, and then I have my holdings, and then I see that. And so it's a weird dichotomy because it's bad news, but it's also good news for me. Academically, it's like I never thought I would live through times like these. I thought it would happen how it looked like it was going. It looked like this event, it would ultimately happen, but not in my lifetime.
Right.
Maybe my kids' lifetime or grandkids' lifetime, like mathematically. Well, when I saw 2020, that changed a lot of that. So, yeah, I think we're here.
Isn't it crazy, Brooke?
Really
Because isn't it crazy, Brooke? Because if a person in their lifetime would have just lived through COVID, but all the stuff that we're living through, it's just crazy when you think about it. So much at one time.
So if you feel like you've lived 20, 30 years within 5, let's think about history. Starting in 1919 with the Spanish flu, then we had the Roaring 20s, which is what we've kind of been in for this past, with the markets and everything, right? Then we had 1929, then which I think we're here, and then after that we had 1933 gold that led into WW2.
Right.
That is all getting crunched down within 5 years. We start 2020, we get COVID flu. Then we get the massive run up. Now we're headed towards WW3. So you like
And
that type of
it's crazy
thing?
for you to say that, but when you look up, you got all this chaos, you got this, you got that. Now you got war talk. It's like, bro, like, can we just pick something and go with that? I mean, it's like
This
all
is
at
a
once.
reset. It's a
Oh my
reset.
God, it's
This is what
crazy.
historically, this is what it looks like. And
And we're doing things that people are acting like it's not a big deal. Oh, we just took over Venezuela, huh? What happened? I mean, it's just so much stuff. You're like, is it? This ain't
people
normal.
tell me
Like,
everything's fine.
yeah,
Everything's fine. You're crazy, Brooke. None of that is what you said is happening. Why are
I'm
you
like,
so pessimistic? Why
man.
are you?
I'm telling you, it's been a crazy, yeah, it's bananas. It's absolutely bananas. Anything else you guys want to add? And by the way, Brooke, my wife, I don't know what the hell, we before rates kind of went crazy in Vegas, we were out looking for houses and we were doing all this different stuff. She comes out and other day we were walking and she goes, well, we went to go watch my nephew play basketball in Oregon. In Portland, and we get back, and she goes, me and my sister were talking about we want a farm and chickens. I'm like, what? Where? I've been with you I ain't never heard about no farm and chicken. Where did that come from? You been hanging out with Brooke or something? What's going on?
Yeah, she needs to come to my farm.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yes, please come visit me. That'd be awesome. I'll cook and feed you all the food. Yeah,
Oh,
it's really worth the lifestyle. I think this reset in the world. Look around. How much do we really love what the world turned into? So, I got down like, man, it's changing. I'm like, actually, it kind of sucks. So, what can the future look like? Guys, this is open protocol technology. There's so many. Go and build, go and dream, go and,
yeah.
man, in these resets, it can be scary. But if you position yourself and you do think you're going to be fine.
And I like what you just said, Brooke, and that's what I want you to add into this too, because you said you read a comment where a person was saying you like this, you like that. That's not the case. I think the answer to that is just go out there and do your research, because all the answers are there. Like, I think and that's kind of like when I'm speaking for the people is one thing, but for people who know me, I couldn't be more excited. If you've been in this space as long as I have for 9 years, I couldn't be more excited, because everything we talked about, even sometimes when it sounded crazy, like we were cuckoo, Brooks and Nestforce, it's happening. And it's not happening the way they want it to happen. It's happening the way it's supposed to happen, in the sense that this is what it takes for us to progress forward. I mean, you cannot change the financial system like it's Netflix took over Block. It's not that quick. It's not going to happen like that. I mean, it takes a lot. And so I'm just excited to be in this position, as I'm sure you guys are, that I'm living through a time where I can set my children's children up for life. And I think people aren't understanding the magnitude of what we're doing. My mom and dad didn't see this. My grandpa, I mean, this is a golden once in a lifetime opportunity. And yes, it's going to be chaos before clear skies. And so
it's going to get a lot worse, people. Hold on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead. I was
going to say, to elaborate upon like what Brooke was saying about, like, just because something sounds crazy doesn't mean it's not going to come true, right? If I went back to late 2019 and said, hey, you guys, in 3 months, everyone's going to be locked in their house and fighting over toilet paper.
Dude, that's crazy.
I would have sounded pretty crazy, right?
That's crazy. Yeah.
Well, it happened. Yeah. Crazy things happen, guys. So, and I just want to say this also to elaborate upon some of the stuff you guys are saying, and to kind of give a farewell here. Even in the worst of times, there's always an opportunity. Like, I really like that Brooke said, well, I had eggs, and when people were losing their jobs and couldn't afford it, you took the opportunity to go do something nice for your neighbors.
That's right.
And I've been in that position before where, like, I had a neighbor down the road from me. She was out pruning her trees, she's an older lady. And I said to her, hey, would you like some help? I'd gladly do it for free. She was like 60. I didn't really think she should be outside doing that. Well, a week later, her husband had congestive heart disorder and ended up in the hospital. And she came to my door with her keys and said, can you let my dog out 3 times today? I'm going to be with my husband. A year later, her husband came home, everything. They're some of the best friends I've ever made. This one tiny gesture turned into a life-changing experience. Right. I met their whole family, grandkids, sons. We're all good friends now. So even in the worst of times, there's opportunities to make your life and everyone's life around you better. And that's really what I'd like to sign off saying. It's just, market crashes, who cares? You're still going to have an excellent life if you navigate that correctly.
Yeah.
And be there for each other. Be
Yep.
there, man. That's the depression. Someone said, you know, we didn't have a lot, but we always had enough because we always shared, and we've lost that in this world. And like in our communities, this one, the one that you're typing and being on, you know, comments, stop, and your neighbors, your network system, go and love people well.
Right.
This world is really hard right now. It doesn't need to be harder because of butt heads. So don't be
right, no.
one, and go be the light. That's my sign off.
Yeah, and I'm gonna throw a sign off too. One of the coolest things I've ever seen, and I've never been that person that prayed for abundance or money. Right, I pray for people who I feel need prayer or their situations. But I saw a guy that put something out, and I was like, man, that's me. And he said, it was something along the lines of, might not be saying it exactly how he said. He says, God, please let this crypto thing work out so that the blessing allows me to bless others. And I said, man, if that didn't just hit me right in my heart. And that's all me and my wife talk about when we go on our walks, is how much good we're going to be able to do for everybody else, because God's already blessed us in that sense. So guys, I appreciate you guys. Much love to my brother, Nestforce, my sister Brooke, to the entire Crypto4Life, Chicago Coin, XRP Army family. We love you guys to pieces. Make sure you guys tune in. We go live Monday through Friday, 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can check us out. Now, I do have Nestforce. Brooke, is there anywhere you want them to find you?
I'm on TikTok mainly, is where I have my community, and where I don't do content. I more or less do lives.
Okay.
And yeah, you can find me over there. What is my name over there? It's Brooke Odyssey.
Brooke Odyssey. Okay, so on TikTok. So you guys, make sure you guys go check out Brooke Odyssey on TikTok. I just showed you Nestforce's page, and you can go check us out. Again, Crypto4Life with your guy, James, AK68J. We'll appreciate you guys. We love you guys. Until next time, we'll see you then. Peace.